Cut to the chase, sister. Is he in?
I'm not at liberty to reveal that, officer.
So he hired you for your intelligence?
I find that offensive.
You have every right to.
What a joker.
We all know Rockstar from games like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, considered by many to be masterpieces in gaming, and for good reason. These games set new standards in gameplay, storytelling and open world design. It's no wonder that the number of GTA clones skyrocketed during the mid-2000s. Saints Row and True Crime, for example, franchises that came and went, but GTA is still around and, thanks to the success of GTA Online, bigger than ever. GTA 5 still dominates the sales charts on a regular basis 12 years after its release. I'm also a huge fan of Rockstar and both these franchises, and I can't wait for GTA 6 next year. However, with the success of GTA and Red Dead Redemption, you almost forget that Rockstar has more games in its portfolio. And one of those games is L.A. Noire, a unique detective game that was innovative on many fronts and where Rockstar truly tried something new. It's also a franchise perfect for a sequel or continuous updates, but like all Rockstar franchises, it's quiet around L.A. Noire. With all the attention focused on GTA 6, and besides that you might hear some rumors on what Red Dead Redemption 3 might do, and where you do see with a franchise like Bully sometimes, there is some noise from the community around asking if there ever will be a sequel. With L.A. Noire, you hear absolutely nothing, and in my opinion, that's unfair.
Objection!
So let me take you back to L.A. Noire in this blast from the past, so I can explain why L.A. Noire is an absolute Rockstar masterpiece and why I also love to see a sequel.
Let me finish, Rusty.
Let's start with the story. The story revolves around Cole Phelps, a former Marine who fought in Japan during World War II and, upon returning, joins the LAPD. The game takes place in LA in the 1940s, just after World War II, and in that setting Cole must work his way up through the ranks. You start out as a regular cop on the street, but by solving cases and following the story, you move across different departments: traffic, homicide, vice and arson.
Developed such a reputation, I'm not going to be able to hold on to you any longer. You're getting promoted.
I'm ready. Promotion. I'm ready. Promotion.
The story seems simple, but throughout the story you encounter major threats that uncover vast conspiracies. The cases seem self-contained, but they aren't always. The story also excels at capturing the zeitgeist and the problems that came with it. Racism, police brutality, bribery, power and traumatized veterans, it's all being handled. And Cole has also had his share of traumatic experiences as well, which also play a significant role in the story. The script also contributes to the brilliant storytelling. You might almost expect it from Rockstar, but while games like GTA also feature a fair amount of corny and vulgar humor, Rockstar managed to do so here without too many cheap sex jokes. They do, however, not shy away from depicting hard-hitting, bizarre criminal issues, something I'll discuss later in the presentation as well. But beyond the visualization, you also see it reflected in the brilliant script. There are suspects who do truly sick things or have sick thoughts, and it is sometimes quite difficult to not let that influence your investigation, interrogations and accusations.
We need you to answer some questions, John.
If you don't mind, I prefer Ferdinand.
Don't push your luck, knucklehead.
What were you doing to the body, Ferdinand?
Are you sure you won't be upset?
Try me, Ferdinand.
I was kissing her.
You got knocked the fuck out!
Despite the story's tone being very different from other Rockstar games, it's still incredibly strong and only proves how good Rockstar has always been when it comes to storytelling. But not everything is perfectly executed in my opinion. Cole's goody two-shoes and know-it-all tone in particular annoyed the fuck out of me several times. I understand Rockstar's intentions by creating such a stark contrast. It shows how nonchalant and rotten the officers could be back then.
You know what your problem is? You don't like hard work. Research is what police work is all about. Discipline.
But Cole's tone and writing, which comes across as a down-bad annoying guy, irritated me so much that at one point I could understand why his partners enjoyed a drink during working hours.
You find the booze helps you get through a working day?
12 seconds later.
Spare Pearl Harbor.
The gameplay is also incredibly cool. At first glance it all seems a bit like a GTA game. You can drive around in the open world, where there's not much to do by the way. Just like in Mafia games, the vast open world serves purely as a huge backdrop. There are some side crimes to solve, somewhat similar to the random events we know from Rockstar games, but these spawn at random moments as you drive through the world from destination A to B.
Our units also needs assistance, 540 West 9th Street and Uncle Sam's Army Supply, 540 West 9th Street. Unit can handle code 2 identified.
You can also find various collectibles such as landmarks and cars in the world, but that's about it in the open world and what you can do in it. Again, it mainly serves as a backdrop. The action sequences are also well done, but not unlike what you'd expect from this type of game. You can chase people on foot or in a car, and you'll find yourself in the usual shootouts. Fuck! When chasing someone on foot, you either have to catch up and tackle them, or by aiming at them long enough, you can sometimes fire a warning shot, which automatically ends the foot chase. Car chases can also end by running the other car off the road, or your partner can shoot out their tires. But don't worry, every chase, whether it's on foot or in a car, always ends eventually. As long as you don't lose them, there's always a scripted moment where you successfully complete the chase. This does make it feel a bit scripted, but that doesn't make it any less spectacular. The cars in the game also drive and handle very sluggishly, something you can expect of course from cars in the mid-1940s. But where the game truly excels is in the detective work itself. Tracking down leads, logically connecting the clues, and interrogating suspects to gain more information and thus leads or perhaps even a confession. The game itself isn't anything particularly special, but all in all it's incredibly fun and you're always curious about what you will encounter at a crime scene or at a suspect's home.
Don't think this is anything.
It mainly involves searching certain locations for objects that can help you. Sometimes you have to rotate an object slightly in your hand so it can be examined more closely.
Knife covered in blood.
No shit, Sherlock!
Or sometimes you have to search for clues in certain paperwork. In the end, you can go wrong with this. The game constantly indicates whether something is interesting or not.
This doesn't pertain to the case.
Or whether something warrants further investigation.
Looks like the old movie set downtown.
And when searching through paperwork, for example, you can just simply press A thousands of times at random moments without any consequences, and you'll automatically find what you need. However, finding these kind of cheap clues might help a little. They're useless if you don't understand them, especially during the various interrogations and questionings you'll conduct. For each question, you can choose out of 3 options. Truth if you think the person in front of you is telling the truth. Doubt if you think that they're hiding something but you don't know what. Or lie if you think they're lying. But you have to back that up with evidence by bringing up the right clues you found in the conversation or on locations. You do this by carefully observing the interviewee's facial expressions. If they look straight ahead, they're usually telling the truth. But if they look scornfully to the side or something similar, they're lying or have something to hide. This is very cleverly done, but I'll come back to that later in the presentation. If you don't do this correctly, you could miss crucial information. Not that it matters that much though. If you completely screw up a case by accusing the wrong person, for example, you'll be told, but the story will continue as it should.
Reginald Varley, I'm charging you with committing a series of arsons and for the murders of Hank Sawyer, Edwina Sawyer, Henry Sawyer, and Jessica Sawyer.
I'm no cold-blooded criminal. I could never burn up a whole family in their home.
How is it? No, just keep your mouth shut and listen to me for a second. How is it you can bring no less than 3 suspects into my station, conduct extensive interviews, sift through mountains of evidence with Lynch and Pinker, and still manage to charge the wrong fucking guy?
That's a bit of a shame though. It would have been cooler if you were temporarily set back or something like that, and you had to do some things in uniform, for example. Mistakes don't really have any consequences now.
Get your uniform from your locker. You're back on the street.
And speaking of gameplay flaws, I personally hated the segments where you had to follow people on foot while not being detected. They randomly turn around and then you have to get out of sight, which is possible, but you really have to find a hiding place, and if you get caught, you have to start over. And that feels too much like trial and error.
This is so frustrating.
The presentation is rock solid, but it also does something unique, even revolutionary for its time. And it's something I've never seen so brilliantly reflected in games as in Noire. And that's the facial expressions, which are incredibly detailed and therefore look incredibly realistic. Now, in 2025, facial expressions are often fantastic, but they never really add anything to the gameplay, other than just looking cool. As mentioned before, in Noire, you really need the facial expressions during interrogations. Facial expressions can tell you if a person is hiding something, so every face of all 400 plus actors had to be motion captured, a job Rockstar, together with Team Bondi, did phenomenally. Sure, it sometimes is a bit too obvious whether a person is lying or not, especially when they pull a face like they need to take a shit.
Card. Blow it off, Greenhorn. You'll get nothing from me.
I need to take a shit.
But often it's really tricky, so you'll have to rely on your gut feeling or your own insights. Graphically, it's what you'd expect from a game from 2011, and it's actually stood the test of time quite well, partly because the facial animations are still excellent and the game has graphically been remastered as well, and the visuals are also brutal. As I said before, Rockstar didn't hold back, and you will encounter the most brutal murders, crime scenes and other things where no subject is being avoided. I could make some sort of montage here with some of those extreme scenes, but that would spoil too much. But take it from me, you could use a strong stomach sometimes.
I hope you have strong stomachs.
Admittedly, the city of LA isn't extremely bustling and can also look quite empty at times, but those are just minor issues. There are also a few strange glitches here and there, but the overall atmosphere is excellent, thanks in part to the music and other details, such as how phones worked back then, even though at one point you can practically dream of Phelps' badge number.
Phelps, badge 1247. Badge 1240, badge 1247, badge 1247, badge 1247, badge 1247.
So, about 40 years later, L.A. Noire is still a masterpiece worth playing. Did you do this back in 2011, like I did? Then it's still worth replaying the cases. The story, the setting, the action sequences, the game is packed with true Rockstar quality, and so I dare to recommend L.A. Noire in 2025, a true blast from the past. Rockstar, I know GTA 6 is important now, and I also know more people are clamoring for Bully 2, but please consider a new L.A. Noire, or DLC, that's fine too, because this game deserves it.
Right, Skipper.
And that brings us to the end of this blast from the past. What did you think of L.A. Noire? Have you played the game before, or are you going to give it a try now? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked the video. And if you want to see live gameplay, you can check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/gameplayofj, and don't forget to follow me there too. For more videos, check out the suggestions on the left or the channel on the right. And for now, thanks for watching, see you in the next video, bye!